Well, hello, and welcome back to a new how-to guide. It's a new year, and Happy New Year to you. I'm Thistle Gamer, and I'm thrilled to have you along for the ride today. And today, we are going to take a look at how to make water features, something I really love making, fountains, pools, ponds, all that good stuff. I'm going to show you an easy way to make a few, and some that are a little bit more challenging. So let's get started. Let's talk some mods. First off, you need Move It and extra landscaping tools. You need Move It all the time, right? There's something missing here. Oh, I found it. It's Find It. Find It is very helpful as well. Now those are some essential ones, and these other ones listed are basically optional. Now, several of these I would not go without at all, especially like no abandonment, because that way if you do have some flooding or something, all your buildings are not going to just vanish, but they are strictly optional. Multiple concretes, I'll kind of explain that later. Let's start with a simple one. So we're going to pick our shift terrain. We'll adjust our brush size and strength, and then we are going to just right click and make a little hole in the ground, just like so. Okay, pretty straightforward. Now let's choose the level terrain option. And now we are picking one of these little contour lines using our second option there. That'll smooth it out. Okay, so what we're going to do is right click, and then we're going to pick our height, and then we're going to left click and just move our mouse around wherever we want that surface to continue. Now if you have some issues with that, you can just kind of hold the mouse still and it'll spread out for you. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make another little low spot, maybe not that low. That looks good. We'll pick a little line gap, and then we'll just start spreading it out like so. You can go as large as you want, as deep as you want, but this will be plenty deep to have a water source. So down here at the bottom, we're going to choose water source, which is this little option on the left. And then we are going to change the water capacity there on the left over to very small, like 0.08, 0.05, something like that. I always recommend saving before you mess with your water in any way, shape, or form, just in case of a disaster, which have been known to happen. Now you will left click to place your water source, and then click on it again, but this time hold down the mouse button, and you can drag it up and down to adjust the height of the water. As you can see, you can do as much as you want, whatever, but just be careful, don't do it too much. Now, unpause the game, let her rip. It can be a little terrifying. Sometimes you'll have like a tidal wave go through a neighborhood, which is not good for land value. But at that point, once the water settles down, everything should be just fine. And since you've chose a lower water capacity, it should keep the water from overflowing or getting too high. That's always go with the lower water capacity. I do not even experiment with a higher water capacity. You can add as much detail as you want, and basically that's it in a nutshell. Sometimes you want to create a water feature that is functional, or at least you want it to look functional. So here I wanted to kind of create like a drainage ditch. When you go to terraform between segments like this, it just will not work. So I'm using network rivers to create that same effect. If you were to terraform here, you would get all sorts of weird stuff. So this network rivers mod by McWelchman really works well for this. It just serves as a network. You can use Find It to find it in your library of assets. What I'm doing is I'm just carrying this network river all the way over to like a little empty land area over here. Even though this is a rather long network river, I still recommend having like a pond or a lake or something to have your water source stationed in, because the water source is pretty big. It's a pretty big circle, so it doesn't exactly work when it comes to just plopping it in the middle of a network river like this. But as you could tell, it just kind of connects right into it. We'll just run our network river right into it. Now I'm having to do a few little go away wall, a few little adjustments here, and turn that exit there into a elevated surface. So obviously there's more than just the mods I listed at the beginning that I'm using here. So I'm just adjusting these nodes and bringing all this network river nodes down. As you can see, there is some weird glitching going on. We're going to fix that in just a moment. Let's add our water source. I'll speed it up for you. Okay, we'll just add that. Here goes nothing. All right. So here I'm going to use, this is where key anarchy comes into place. We're just going to put a key to kind of wrap around this corner piece, and that'll serve as a wall for our network river. We'll run it all the way down and around this side on both sides. And we're going to kind of even it out and cut it off here at the end like so. And this building probably needs to be moved. Just move it over like so. Same thing with our key. You'll have to do lots of little adjustments and things like this, but I think that works pretty well. We'll kind of let the rest of it just be more natural. Now, here is our water source area. I'm just kind of adding in some decal or some prop rocks, some different things, some decals using surface painter, and just kind of putting some additional elements here to add just a little bit of detail right off these condos. Nice little lookout over this pond or sewage drainage area, whatever you want it to be. It's totally up to your imagination. It's the same philosophy as the first part of the tutorial as far as the pond goes, but we just added the network river and it just goes right into the retail area on my map. Now here at the end of this key, we're going to add a wall just like so. Now here we're going to have a little fun. We're going to use procedure objects. We're going to make a big drainage pipe. First, we're going to put ploppable asphalt. This ploppable concrete surface here we'll put right over the end here, so that's just a nice little cutoff. And here I'm going to make this drainage pipe. Now we're going to use procedure objects. This is just a simple procedure object PO item that we are going to turn into a gigantic pipe like so. We'll just lower in place, kind of make it a little bit smaller there. Okay, now we're going to make another one just to serve as the darkness that we want in this pipe. It's rather creepy in a lot of ways. Hopefully Pennywise is not down there. All right, so we'll just use procedure objects, adjusting that, add a couple of decals like so. Now, one nice little extra touch we can do, we can actually add a waterfall in here. And what we'll do is we'll just use this real skinny waterfall. We will convert that to procedure objects as well. That way we can make it nice and small. We'll just kind of adjust it and put it in here. And then what we'll do is, since we want this to kind of be like a drainage pipe, maybe sewage, maybe just drainage water, we are going to just adjust the color to a darker color. Yeah, that's disgusting. I would not want to go in there. We'll add these little prop vines all around it, just kind of give it a little foliage and a little detail like so. This is a very good example of how water features can help make your city even more realistic. So for our third and final example, as we take a look at the Cape Town district of Sloop John Island, we're going to put a water feature in an area that's just covered in random stuff. So here I've got a pathway coming over the top. I've got an elevator. I've got escalators. I've got trees and decals and all that. And we're just going to put a water feature here. Does it really need one? Well, that's up for nobody to decide, I guess. So same philosophy, shift terrain. Now I made a very deep hole here. And the reason I did that is because we're going to be adjusting this a lot. It's going to come in a little bit more from where it was. I actually got rid of a building that was a leftover sign there. So again, we're clicking on our water source. And then we are just placing the water source right where that circle is. Now here you saw that tidal wave effect. Yikes, a little scary, that's for sure. And you can just, as much as you want to adjust that water source, you can adjust it. So you can click back on it, just hold down the left click on the mouse, up and down, adjust the water as much as you want. Just always save, always save. Now here I found some curbs that are adjustable. They will work with procedure objects. Not all curbs that you have are going to work with procedure objects, but these do. And these curbs I'm putting in place, we are kind of using them as a perimeter wall to ultimately where the water is going to stop, or it's going to appear to stop. So that way we don't have ground right there up against the side of the water. Then we're using these big concrete props, and I'm also converting those procedure objects. We're just putting those right up against these curbs. Those are going to serve as, since the curbs do not have any depth to them, those are going to serve as like walls to this water feature. This is obviously an artificial water feature, nothing natural, just something for looks. These concrete props, I believe, are meant for like interstate exits and things like that. But as I said, multiple concretes, this is kind of what I'm talking about. We want to cover that ground. We don't want that ground to be showing there. And terrain forming here is just not going to work for you because there's just too many segments and nodes around. So we're just doing procedure objects. Now here I'm using the same concrete, turning them into squares this time to make like little corner pieces. Now we didn't have any terrain problems on the side I just made, but we do on the other side, but I want it to be nice and symmetrical. So we're putting two concrete blocks, both identical square sizes, right there against both corners to just kind of make it look nice and straight and symmetrical. Now what I'm doing here is I'm using move its PO function because it makes it a lot easier to get these all at the exact same height. Going through procedure objects and doing it would be very hard. Now here I'm using a concrete filler. This is by RWBFX. These are not like the most popular thing on the workshop, but man, do I use those a lot because they just fill it up. They just fill up little gaps that you want to get rid of, and they don't go away. They don't cause any issues. They're just perfect. I love them. So we're going to take one of the squares that we had from this corner and make a little base for these pillars. I thought it was kind of funny that the pillars were going right into the water. Sounds like a recipe for corrosion and other bad things we don't want. Now you will run into this problem a lot, and that's just why ploppable asphalt to me is essential in this process, because ploppable asphalt acts as a surface and then you can put decals on top of it. This will allow you to put your decals right up to the side of your water feature. Now one last little thing we're doing here, I'm taking that same square, and I saw this little gap here. I thought it'd look cool to put an extra little piece of concrete down in there, because it looks like a perfect spot to have like a waterfall coming from underneath the ground there, kind of like underneath the surface, like a small one, you know, something neat. So we'll just take our waterfall, we're going to convert it to procedure objects, widen it just a tad like so. We're also going to take the bottom of it, we're just going to scroll over a bunch of these little red dots. I don't know the technical term for those. We're just going to scroll over them and hide them. I'm going to use this little waterfall ruffle. Same thing, procedure objects. We're going to widen it just a tad, and then we're just going to place it kind of like right up underneath the waterfall. So it kind of looks like it's flowing outward a little bit more. Give it kind of like a wave ripple effect that I think looks really neat. So yeah, there you have it. That about does it for this how-to guide. I hope you found it insightful and somewhat helpful. If you did, be sure to leave a comment or hit that like button. Subscribe to This Old Gamer for more content. Some of it might even be helpful, generally speaking, but there's some fun episodes on my channel, so I hope you come along for each and every ride in the future. And I hope you have a prosperous 2022 and make some creative water features in your city. You won't regret it. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.